Hello and what's up, political peeps? I am your host, Arif Kapoor, and today I am joined by a candidate for United States Senate in Connecticut and a former U.S. Marine from the Cheaper Gas Groceries Party, Mr. Robert Finley Hyde. Welcome to the GeoPolitical.
Hello, Harvey. And thanks for having me. It's great to be here to talk about the issues that matter to everyday Americans.
Yeah, it's truly important, and I'm excited to have you on the show. Can you start by telling us a little bit more about yourself? I know you were a Marine, so elaborate more on your background and what running for Senate means to you.
Sure. So, a bit about myself. I'm Robert Finley Hyde, and I've
Mhm.
spent my life combining public service and problem solving. I started out in the Marines, where I learned the importance of discipline and commitment, values I carry with me today. I'm also deeply invested in my education, pursuing both an MBA and an MPA to strengthen my understanding of how public and private sectors intersect. Over the years, I've been involved in campaigns, policy work, and now I'm running for Senate as a conservative candidate to create real change for Connecticut. My focus is on revitalizing the economy, achieving energy independence, and simplifying our tax policy. Things I believe will truly make a difference for people across our state.
So this year, why did you choose to run under the cheaper gas groceries party instead of going into one of the two major parties, either the Republican or Democrat parties?
That's a great question. Um, I think that's where I fall. I chose the cheaper gas groceries party because the major parties have lost touch with everyday people.
Yeah,
They're too wrapped up in agendas that don't prioritize what families really need, like affordable gas, groceries, and basic necessities. I wanted to create a platform where the focus is on cutting costs and simplifying policies that directly impact people's lives. The major parties talk big, but often get bogged down in bureaucracy. And I believe it's time for a straightforward, people first approach. This party is here to challenge the status quo and deliver practical solutions for Connecticut.
understood. Now, can you tell us more about your process of starting a new political party?
Yeah, so you have to start out by filling out an application with the Secretary of State. You have to gather 34 signatures, submit that to the state. They have to approve it. You can have no more than 3 words by law, and it can't be party designated. Say you can't say like Better Democrats or Better Republicans Party, Liberals, any of that. And
Mhm.
once you get that approved by the Secretary of State, they provide you with a form. Uh, on that form, it's called the petition to form a party, and you go out there. It's called petitioning for signatures, and you have to gather 7,500 verified signatures. What do I mean by verified? Is that every signature has to be somebody that's registered to vote.
Understood. And now I do want to transition away from talking more about your political party, and we'll come back to more about the policy that comes along with this party that you created. But can you tell us more about how your time in Iraq as a U.S. Marine have kind of helped you and helped you as a person and influenced your run for U.S. Senate?
Ah, you did a little homework.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's yeah, you looked me up a little bit, huh? You knew about my time in Iraq. So I
definitely.
mean, it really shaped my understanding of energy and its impact on national stability and security. I saw firsthand how critical energy resources
Hmm.
are to not only the economy but also to a country's overall independence. It
Yes.
gave me perspective on the strategic importance of energy independence here at home. In Connecticut and across the country, we need to focus on policies that drive down energy costs and make us less reliant on foreign oil. That's one reason I'm so focused on energy independence. It's about giving Americans more control over their resources and reducing the influence of outside factors that drive up costs.
So at this point in the race, what do you think the likelihood is that you will be able to win this race, given that you don't identify with either of the two major political parties?
Um, you go from Iraq to winning an election. I'm not here to play it safe or follow the typical path. I'm here to shake things up and bring real solutions to Connecticut. The likelihood of winning isn't just about poll numbers or political odds. It's about connecting with people on issues that matter to them, like affordable gas, food, and energy independence. I believe there's a strong appetite for an alternative to the major parties, and as more people hear about the cheaper gas groceries party and what we stand for, I think we're going to see a groundswell of support. I'm in this to win, and I believe we can make it happen by giving people a real choice.
Understood. Now, on the topic of what the cheaper gas grocery party actually means, I want to transition more to your specific policies. So, as of now, you are, I assume that you are extremely well versed with the situation at the southern border, given your ties to President Trump and the work you plan to do to fixing the immigration issue in the United States. So, can you tell us more about what you think is the most viable solution for fixing the issue at the southern border of the United States? And as a member of the U.S. Senate, how would you execute that?
So on the southern border, we need policies that balance security with a streamlined, lawful immigration process. Border security is essential not only for protecting American citizens, but
Mhm,
also to ensure that immigration happens legally. A
mhm,
viable solution involves both physical security measures and enhanced technology like surveillance and detection systems to prevent illegal crossings.
mhm.
But it's more than just a security issue. We also need reforms that make legal immigration more efficient. This means cutting down on bureaucratic red tape that delays lawful entry and creates a bottleneck. A clear legal path allows us to welcome people who want to contribute to our economy while upholding the rule of law. I believe the balanced approach, strict on security but fair in process, is the way to address this challenge effectively.
Understood. And do you think that somebody, like I mentioned before, that you've worked really closely with, President Trump, will be able to execute this plan?
Um, I do.
And do you think that, how do you think we have gotten to a place that where this issue has become so prevalent?
Well,
And so
number
frequent?
one, I absolutely think Trump's approach to border security showed that he's willing to take strong, decisive actions, which is essential in tackling the border crisis. I mean, he's focused on national security and reducing
Yeah.
bureaucratic inefficiencies, which aligns with what's needed to execute a balanced border plan. Under his leadership, we saw real efforts to secure the border and enforce immigration laws, getting a president that future administrations could build on. A straightforward, results driven approach like Trump's can bring us closer to a viable solution that prioritizes both security and a clear, lawful immigration process.
And how do you think this issue at the southern border that has been created and hopefully will be resolved has affected Connecticut as a whole?
That's a great question. Has it affected us or the nation?
Connecticut.
Um, I think overall, when you look at like the impact of high gas prices on Connecticut has been significant. Families across the state are feeling the squeeze every time they fill up at the pump, and it's not just. Are we talking immigration or just the cheaper gas groceries policies?
I was just on the topic of how immigration has affected Connecticut.
I mean, so that's a good question. Immigration is a complex issue that requires a balanced. Um, I mean, it's a tough one. I think you're seeing like
Mhm.
definitely a draw. I mean, it's got incredible potential, but it's facing challenges that demand real action from. I think when you look at like illegal immigrants
Mhm.
abusing welfare, social programs, housing costs,
Yeah.
crime, um, and abusing social programs such as welfare, SNAP benefits,
Mhm.
I think you see a significant increase in potential downfalls to Connecticut.
I understand your view. Now, I want to transition more on talking about the safety of the people within the state of Connecticut. So, can you tell us about, given Connecticut's history, including the Newtown Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting of December of 2012, how you will balance the safety of Connecticut residents while also ensuring the Second Amendment rights are protected of law-abiding citizens?
Sure. So I think safety is a top concern for every family in Connecticut, including those in places like Newtown, who have experienced firsthand the devastating impact of violence. Balancing safety with individual rights is essential, and it starts with common sense policies that protect our communities without overreach. This means supporting strong law enforcement, ensuring they have the resources to keep our neighborhoods secure, and addressing mental health challenges early on to prevent tragedies before they happen. At the
Mhm.
same time, we need to protect constitutional rights. So any safety measures should respect the freedoms we hold dear. For Connecticut, it's about political preventative action that puts safety first while respecting the rights of responsible citizens.
Understood. And at this point, how far do you think Connecticut is from reaching the balance where people feel safe in the state, but their Second Amendment rights are ensured?
A balance between feeling safe.
Yeah, and Second Amendment rights. Yeah.
Hmm.
How far do you think we are from that as a state?
Very close.
Yeah, I
I
definitely
mean,
understand that.
I
Yeah.
mean, it still has a way to go in striking the right balance between ensuring public safety and respecting individual rights. I mean, there have been steps forward, like improving school
Yeah.
safety protocols, mental health resources,
Yes.
but these efforts are not fully integrated or efficient across the board. And right now, we're seeing a lot of reactive measures rather than preventative ones, which means we're often addressing issues only before they become critical. We do. Connecticut needs a proactive approach that emphasizes early intervention, supports law enforcement, and thoughtful, constitutionally sound policies. It's achievable, but I mean, it requires leadership that prioritizes practical solutions and our community well-being rather than relying on one-size-fits-all policies. We can definitely get there by focusing on real preventative action that genuinely addresses both safety and personal freedom. I think the school resource officers was a good one, and I think there definitely needs to be a balance. Sorry about that. Balance between SROs and the schools.
And do you think this is the balance that you would be able to achieve if you were elected as a senator?
I do.
And transitioning away from this on the topic of safety and but now transitioning to a much heavier topic of national and worldwide defense, why is the America's partnership with Israel crucial to the and both the nations?
What with Israel is crucial.
Yeah, why is it a crucial relationship?
That's a good question. Um, I mean, there are so many. I mean, there's so many with. I mean, absolutely, our national defense and our alliance with Israel are crucial not only to U.S. security, but also to maintaining stability in a region that faces constant threats. Israel is one of our closest allies in the Middle East, and our partnership supports intelligence sharing, military innovation, and deterrence against common threats, including terrorism and rogue states. Strengthening this relationship isn't just about defense, it's about shared values, democracy, and a commitment to mutual security. By standing firm with Israel, we reinforce our own security and send a message to the world that we back our allies. A strong U.S. Israel alliance is vital to promoting peace and protecting our interests both nationally and globally.
And given what you just said, can you elaborate more on the accusations of Israel for the brutal way that they have increasingly been fighting against Hamas? And what are your thoughts on these possible accusations? Some people considering them to be like war crimes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, it's a hard subject. That's a very tough question. Where? How did you get these questions? CNN.
No, I just made them myself.
Good job. I mean, those are some pretty strategic questions. I mean, Israel has been addressing the threat posed by Hamas through a combination of military intelligence and technological strategies. I mean, Hamas, which is designated as a terrorist organization by the United States and many other countries, I mean, they regularly launch attacks from Gaza into Israel, targeting civilians. And to counter these attacks, Israel has developed one of the world's most advanced missile defense systems, the Iron Dome,
Yeah,
which intercepts and neutralizes rockets before they reach populated areas. I mean, Israel also conducts targeted operations to disrupt Hamas's infrastructure, including tunnels, weapons storage facilities, and command centers. And these operations rely heavily on intelligence gatherings and precision strikes to minimize civilian harm. Additionally, Israel actively works to curb Hamas's financial resources, aiming to prevent the group from obtaining weapons and technology. And I think through these multifaceted efforts, Israel strives to protect its citizens while maintaining regional stability through the situation remains complex and challenging. I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell. I think it's just a complex and challenging situation.
Understood. Now, I had one more question for you concerning the Second Amendment and gun safety. So, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go back and ask that question. On your website, you have been you. It said that you were against universal background checks in the state of Connecticut. Can you elaborate more on why you don't think universal background checks are a good idea?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Second Amendment is a fundamental right that ensures that individuals can protect themselves, their families, and their property. Responsible gun ownership is a part of our nation's heritage and a crucial to maintaining individual freedoms. While gun safety is important, universal background checks often create unnecessary hurdles for law-abiding citizens without effectively preventing a crime. Criminals typically find ways to circumvent these systems, meaning these checks may not address the root of gun violence. Instead of blanket policies like universal background checks, we should focus on targeted measures that address illegal firearms trafficking, enhance mental health support, and ensure that current laws are enforced properly. This approach prioritizes safety while respecting the rights of responsible gun owners, preserving the spirit of the Second Amendment.
Understood. Now, I want to transition away from this. Thank you for that answer. To talk more about infrastructure in Connecticut. And I know you grew up here in Connecticut, so you're familiar with the I-95 corridor running through the southern seaboard of the state, and then there's the Merritt Parkway corridor, which are often extremely congested, running through the city centers, going from like the New York City area to the populous regions of Bridgeport and New Haven. So, how do you think that we can fix the overcongestion on these two major arteries of the Northeast United States and make the planet greener?
So the I-95 corridor is a major artery for Connecticut, but the congestion is a serious problem that impacts commuters, businesses, and our overall economy. Fixing it requires a comprehensive approach, not just quick patches. We need to prioritize modernizing the infrastructure along I-95 with expanded lanes, improved on and off ramps, and dedicated lanes for commercial vehicles to ease the load. I think investing in smart traffic management systems can also help by using real-time data to reduce bottlenecks. Additionally, encouraging alternatives like rail and transit options can take the pressure off the highway. We can't afford to let the I-95 corridor remain this congested if we want Connecticut to thrive. So it's time for a serious strategic investment to get traffic flowing and make daily life easier for everyone.
And you mentioned the use of public transportation and rail in that answer there. So I do want to elaborate. I want to have you elaborate more on that. So Connecticut's commuter rail has unfortunately, between like old bridges and other forms of damage taking place to the system that we maintain along with the Metro North, and then there's also the Connecticut rail lines and then Amtrak, old bridges and stuff are hurting Connecticut's public transportation and encouraging more people to utilize private transportation. So how will you combat this rise of private transportation to get people to use more public transportation and thus make for less congested major corridors and a greener planet?
Great question. So I believe investing in Connecticut's railways could be a game changer, especially as we look to alleviate congestion on highways like I-95. An efficient, reliable rail system offers a strong alternative to driving, reducing road traffic and emissions while connecting people to jobs, schools, and other parts of the state. Modernizing our rail infrastructure means faster trains, increased capacity, and more frequent service, especially in high demand areas. We should also consider expanding rail lines to undeserved regions, making rail an accessible option for more residents. By improving the reliability and reach of our railways, we're not only addressing transportation issues, but also supporting economic growth and creating a more sustainable future for Connecticut.
Understood, but another huge component to the utilization of rail and public transportation is that last mile of the journey, which generally has to be filled by some kind of bus or just walking long distances. But how will you ensure that people in Connecticut can feel safe riding buses and utilizing public transportation and making sure that bus networks are robust enough that people can complete that last mile after getting off at their local rail station?
So, ensuring safety on buses and for pedestrians is essential for successful public transit and community environment. On buses, we need increased security measures, including visible cameras, regular safety checks, and where necessary, security personnel to make passengers feel safe. Clear communication about routes and real-time tracking apps can also help reduce waiting times at stops, which minimizes potential risks.
Mhm.
For pedestrians, investing in well-lit, accessible sidewalks and crosswalks is critical, especially near bus stops and high-traffic areas. Traffic calming measures such as speed bumps, pedestrian signals, and maybe raised crosswalks can make walking safer. Safe, reliable public spaces encourage people to choose buses and walking over driving, improving both safety and quality of life across Connecticut.
Understood. And on that topic of improving the quality of life and safety of people throughout the state, another huge thing that has come with your party and also you as a candidate for Senate yourself has been, increasing excuse me, not increasing taxes, decreasing taxes, decreasing the price of gas, and helping build the economy. So, can you tell us how you'll provide tax relief, particularly to Connecticut's middle class, while not harming public service initiatives such as the expansion of Connecticut's rail network and schools, hospitals, medical help, and other forms of public work projects?
Sure, decreasing taxes is essential to revitalizing Connecticut's economy. High taxes place a heavy burden on families, drive businesses out of the state, and discourage investment. By reducing taxes, we allow people to keep more of their hard earned money, which helps stimulate local spending, fuels business growth, and ultimately creates jobs. Lower taxes also attract businesses, fostering an environment where entrepreneurship can thrive. We can start by cutting wasteful spending and targeting inefficiencies to fund tax reductions without sacrificing essential services. The goal is to build a leaner, more effective government that serves the people without overburdening them. Reducing taxes is a practical step toward a stronger, more prosperous Connecticut, I think.
And on the topic of making life more affordable for Connecticut residents, it's in the name of your party. How do you hope to work with other forms of like EverSource and to bring down the total price of energy in Connecticut, particularly in terms of gas?
To bring down the cost of gas, we need to focus on boosting energy independence and tackling issues within the supply chain. First, increasing domestic energy production, especially in oil and natural gas, can reduce our reliance on foreign sources and make gas prices more stable. Streamlining regulations around energy exploration and refining will allow us to tap into resources more efficiently and bring supply closer to demand. Second, we should consider alternative energy sources that can supplement oil, such as biofuels, to diversify our energy mix. On a state level, creating a competition by introducing a municipal utility could force existing providers to keep prices fair. Lastly, improving transportation and refining infrastructure will reduce costs in getting gas to stations, ultimately benefiting consumers at the pump. These steps taken together can bring meaningful relief to families in Connecticut and beyond. Now, on electric, um, on electric, I think it is the future. We need a balanced and practical approach to make it work for everyone. Expanding access to electric vehicle infrastructure is a big step. This means more charging stations across Connecticut, especially in rural and undeserved areas, so people feel confident making the switch to EVs. At the same time, we need to ensure our grid is prepared to handle increased demands. Investing in renewable energy resources like solar can help power this shift sustainably, but we also need to maintain reliable base load energy sources such as natural gas during transition. So keeping costs manageable is key. So incentives for electric vehicles and home charging stations can make electrical vehicle adoption more affordable. Ultimately, it's about making electric energy accessible, affordable, and practical so more people can embrace it as a viable option, reducing our reliance on fossil fuels and paving the way for cleaner energy solutions in Connecticut and across the country.
Understood. Now, transitioning from this, there's one more topic I do want to address before we wrap up today's interview. Can you elaborate more on your relationship with President Trump? It's kind of emphasized on your social media and your website, and your involvement in President Trump's first impeachment trial.
What? Yeah, so I mean, it's just my relationship with Trump is rooted in mutual goals and shared values, particularly around issues like strengthening the economy, securing the border, and standing up for American interests. I
Mhm.
mean, Trump has shown a results-driven approach, often pushing through the noise to get things done, which I respect. While we may have different styles, I admire his commitment to shaking up the status quo and bringing attention to issues that many politicians shy away from. I believe that kind of bold leadership is necessary, especially as we look to solve issues like energy independence and economic revitalization. Working alongside leaders like Trump, I'm committed to fighting for the people of Connecticut, challenging the establishment, and delivering on promises that directly benefit the Americans.
Understood. And on that note, thank you so much for joining me today. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I appreciate it. Good luck with your pod.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hyde, and good luck on your race.